They were doing research on a human transmittable coronavirus that was actually published in a paper. So this is research that they actually published. They were working on developing a coronavirus for the human host, which, leads you to question, why would you be creating a coronavirus that can infect humans? What would be the purpose of that research? Is it for a weapon? Is it so that you can then create a vaccine that you are the sole recipient of the profits from? The Chinese have full access to our databases. They have full access to all that research that comes out. They have full access to all our universities to train their scientists. And they have full access to our scientists, like was, with the recent indictment of the head of the chemistry department at Harvard. I mean, this is the Thousand Talents program. Tens of thousands of the world's most brightest people in all of these different areas that are going to China to help them with their programs. And all of these programs, as you know, have a dual use capability.
His statement is exactly what's happening, that the virus is everywhere and it could not spread that fast through various countries unless it's been spread via laboratories, via the mail, via research scientists studying that. Additional studies very strongly support the idea that this new coronavirus came from a recombination event, that is a cutting and pasting of two different viruses. So her work proves or strongly supports the hypothesis that it could not possibly have been generated in a natural zoonotic transmission, but had to come from a hospital setting, the laboratory setting, almost certainly the biosafety level 4 Wuhan research facility.
Cell surface, and then invade into the cell to propagate and destroy it.
That means virus now can infect human cell much easier. That's probably also one of the important reasons contributing to multi-organ failure when people have a very severe disease. They can spread out in the human body much faster.
Well, the S proteins, the high similarity of the S proteins from SARS-1 to now SARS-2, that's your spike protein. That's the lock and key. That's going to be what drives it right through human cells. And so we know that's the pathogenic spike protein that for the original SARS. So now you're allowing that access to human tissues because the spike proteins of the natural evolutionary strains don't infect human cells at all. So that research has been going on at Wuhan and published since 2007. And clearly, if that spike protein from SARS weren't on the new COVID-19 or SARS-2, it wouldn't be able to enter human cells. So again, this is evidence that it couldn't go through the Wuhan seafood market, because how did you get that spike protein off the original SARS from bats or any other way? It's lab-derived.
This is telling us the Chinese government is censoring this information. They do not allow the samples to be sequenced or do not allow the sequence to be published or submitted to the gene bank.
Its response to this virus is extremely troubling. It ignored it for 6 weeks. It allowed it to spread around China. It tried to get other countries to not protect themselves. This is dangerous, irresponsible behavior, and it's endangered not only the Chinese people, but people around the world.
There is no other way of looking at it. They are responsible for the continuation of this coronavirus. And every time it comes back, because it will come back, because it's going to be with us now permanently, it will come back, and every person that it kills, every person it harms, is directly attributable to the Chinese Communist Party.
Certainly believe that the 100% amino acid similarity says it can't possibly be a natural mutation. It almost certainly is a recombination event that was laboratory driven.
The numbers that we're getting from China about new infections and deaths are highly suspicious. We know that Beijing for 6 weeks in December and January suppressed information of the epidemic. And then when they officially acknowledged it on January 20, they then started a campaign of suppression of information. We know that because the Central Leading Group that was announced on January 26 has a 9-person roster, and it's very heavy with propaganda officials. Indeed, the vice chairman of the group is the Communist Party's propaganda czar. It appears that the party's main goal here is suppression of information, controlling the narrative. That's more important to them than actually ending the epidemic.